Good afternoon, passengers. This is your captain speaking. I'd like to welcome everyone aboard this podcast. We are currently cruising at an altitude of 35,000 feet and airspeed of 450 miles per hour. Weather is clear and sunny with a high at 75 degrees. The cabin crew will be coming around in about 20 minutes to offer you a light snack and beverage. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome aboard Pilot Error. I'm Tom Feeney, writer for Wang's Chop Movie Magazine. You may know me from such podcasts as the Deep Dive Podcast, the Deep Dive Microcast, Mysteries of the Deep, and Hollywood Hype. Whew. Now this is Pilot Error, where we tune in to TV shows that went belly up before their time. Slot.
And from Los Angeles tonight, we have just received word that Andy Kaufman has died. You may remember Kaufman as the immigrant mechanic on the television show Taxi. Kaufman was admitted to a hospital in Los Angeles yesterday for lung cancer. Kaufman was 36 years old.
To call the late Andy Kaufman a comedian is to do a great disservice to the man himself. A comedian wants to make people laugh. Andy Kaufman didn't care if they laughed. His entire life became one long-form masterpiece of performance art. To this day, some people are convinced that Kaufman faked his death back in 1984 and will someday reappear as if nothing happened. Born in New York City, Kaufman gained fame in the 1970s for his appearances on television shows like Saturday Night Live and The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. But it was Taxi, where he played Latka Gravis, a variation of his stage character Foreign Man, on the ABC TV network that made him a star.
There's only one thing you need in life and to make you happy. And that is friends. That's all you need is friends, and then you'll be happy.
Right.
If you have friends, you'll be happy person. You also need the food and clothes. You need food and clothes, and you need the friends and the food and clothes. Then you'll be happy person.
Okay.
And a nice car. So if you have your friends and the food and clothes and the nice car, this is all you need. You don't need anything else except a home. You need the home, a nice house, and when your friends come over to visit you, they might want to take a dip. So you need the pool. So let's add this up. You need the friends and the food and clothes and the car and the house with the pool. And a beautiful woman who have a nice body that make you foaming at the mouth.
Kaufman's act often blurred the line between reality and performance, employing elaborate hoaxes and pranks. He famously wrestled women and engaged in a highly publicized feud with professional wrestler Jerry Lawler, which, at the time, many believed was real. Kaufman also created the character of Tony Clifton, a crude, wisecracking stand-up comedian who was horrible to everyone around him. Now, Kaufman insisted he and Clifton were different people, even going so far as hiring his friend Bob Zmuda to play Clifton so he and Kaufman could be in the same place at the same time. See, why didn't Superman think of that? Now, Kaufman was always trying to push the boundaries of what was considered comedy. For example, there were times when, performing at a club or college, he would simply sit and read F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel The Great Gatsby until people booed and or left the building. Since childhood, Kaufman was obsessed with television. And at least for a while, television was obsessed with Andy Kaufman. Kaufman's visibility was rising, and he was a popular guest on several variety shows like The Monty Hall Variety Hour, The Lisa Hartman Show, and Van Dyke and Company with the ageless Dick Van Dyke. In 1977, after his second appearance on The Tonight Show, Andy got an offer to shoot a pilot for the ABC television network. And not to simply be in the pilot, but to be the star. The show was called Stick Around and takes place in the far-off future of 2055. A married couple, Elaine and Vance, two names you don't hear often in this time, much less the future, they own an antique store filled with items that, strangely enough, are from the 1970s. Now, Andy Kaufman plays Andy. Andy is a robot, but not the latest model. He's as much of an antique as everything else in the store, but he means well.
Robots that don't work, computers that fall apart. If you think things were complicated in 1977, just stick around.
Stick around, stick around. There's a whole lot of joy to be found. Stick around, stick around. There's a whole lot of joy to be found. Here's a view of me and you in 2055. New machines and laser beams make sure we all survive. No traffic, no pollution, it's a new society. Food may be expensive, but the air is fit to breathe. Stick around, stick around. There's a whole lot of joy to be found. Stick around.
Excuse me. What do you think you're doing?
I'm charging myself.
You're always charging yourself.
But I can't help it. You make me work so hard this morning, so I'm tired. I'm very tired.
You're also very expensive. Did you see my power bill last month?
Oh! I told you never to do that. I will pull my own plug.
No, I'd like to pull your plug sometime. For good. You've been acting funny all morning. I thought I smelled you burning before.
I wish you would not do this in front of people.
If you're broken again...
I'm not broken.
All right.
Now, from that, it should be obvious why Stick Around didn't. Even by 1970 sitcom standards, it's pretty dumb. A truly goofy premise and a genuine waste of Andy Kaufman's talents. I mean, who would believe him as a bumbling robot? If I were him, I'd never again entertain the idea of playing any kind of silly robot character. Although, a few years later, Kaufman would do exactly that. And the results were just as abysmal.
And now, direct from his worldwide tour, we proudly present the one and only Leonard Catskill.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and germs. It's great to be here. Of course, at my age, it's great to be anywhere. But seriously, folks, I'm here to tell you about this new movie. It's called Hot Beeps, and it's about me and my pals. Here's Val Count.
Turn your head around.
I don't want to say he's dim-witted, but he makes an electric toothbrush look like a genius.
Look, fire. My function? To serve as companion and valet. Being programmed to charm was probably an extra expense.
This is Aquacom. She was Popular Mechanics Playmate of the Month for June 1994. Did a load of those components. Wowie wow.
Oh, thank you.
And then there's Philco. He's a great kid. But he had no sense of humor until he met me. I haven't been this happy since the time I bought a pet skunk. My wife said, "Where do you expect to keep it?" I said, "Under our bed." She said, "What about the smell?" And I said, "He'll have to get used to it, just like I did." But believe me, folks, this movie's got a lot going for it. There's action, adventure, romance, raccoons, even people. Hey, kid, behave yourself. Oh, yeah, and I'm in the movie, too. But seriously, folks, don't forget to see Universal's new movie, Heartbeats. And it's coming for you-know-when. And speaking of Christmas...
Andy Kaufman, Bernadette Peters, in Heartbeats, coming this Christmas. It's holiday entertainment for everyone.
So I says, I don't care who you are, Fatso. Get those reindeer off my roof.
4 years after Stick Around failed, Andy Kaufman suited up as Valcom 17485, a robotic valet on the run in the film Heartbeats. Also starring the wonderful Bernadette Peters as Valcom's robot companion, the pair are on the run from a malfunctioning police robot.
It has the investigating ability of 1,000 detectives, the firepower of 100 tanks. It can't be outsmarted. It can't be outrun. It's Crime Buster.
I am in pursuit of 4 missing robots. Valcom, Aquacom, Catskill, and Little Phil. Be on the lookout for Heartbeats.
The film grossed an embarrassing $2 million at the box office, 1/6 the film's production budget. It has a score on Rotten Tomatoes of 0%. Now, that puts Heartbeats on the same legendary plane as movies like Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol, Baby Geniuses 2, Return to the Blue Lagoon, and The Nutcracker in 3D. Congratulations. Of course, Andy Kaufman was still at this time a cast member of classic workplace sitcom Taxi, being part of an amazing cast including national treasures Danny DeVito and Christopher Lloyd. During Taxi's run, ABC showed a comedy special from Kaufman called Andy's Funhouse. The special was shot in 1977, but didn't air until 2 years later, presumably to capitalize on Kaufman's rising profile.
Now? Hello. This is my special and it's for 90 minutes. ABC told me that I could have a special, and so, they give me $100,000 and they say, you can do whatever you want with this money. So I was supposed to, hire writers and guests, but I was so lazy, and so, I did not do it. So I went on vacation with the money, and now I have nothing left but just for this one camera and this chair, So there is no special. Da 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 da. Now that we have lost the audience, and now only my friends are watching, I would like to show my special.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Andy's Funhouse, starring Andy Kaufman, with Andy's guests, Cindy Williams, Little Wendy, Gail Slobotkin, the B Street Conga Band, and Chubby Rosalie, with special guests Howdy Doody, and also cartoons, games, fun, and many other surprises. And now, here he is, Andy Kaufman!
The cow goes, and the dog goes, and the cat goes, and the bird goes, and the pig goes, and the lion goes, and that's the way it goes.
Okay, now. Okay, for those of you who are joining us, who have been with us before, this is just a reminder. But for those of you who are joining us for the first time, later on in the show, we're going to have a midnight snack. So this is what you're going to need later on if you want to join us and eat with us, okay? Okay, now make sure you have these things in your refrigerator. We're going to have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And we're going to have chocolate milk, made, of course, with Choco Marsh. It's Choco Marvelous. And we're going to have ice cream. Okay.
In 1980, almost at the midway point in Taxi's 5-season run, Kaufman produced a short proof-of-concept video called Uncle Andy's Funhouse, which had similar themes and elements of the earlier TV special. The video was meant for another proposed ABC pilot titled Buckshot.
Direct from Andy Kaufman's parents' house in Westbury, Long Island, it's time for Uncle Andy's Funhouse!
I'm Uncle Andy, I'm Uncle Andy. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. I'm Uncle Andy, I'm Uncle Andy. In the good old USA. Uncle Andy, Uncle Andy. And we're gonna have fun today. Uncle Andy, Uncle Andy. In the good old USA. And here's my dog, Laz. Yes, he's just a good dog. Here we go. Here you go, Laz. There you go. Okay. Okay, and you know, we're going to have a real good time. And later on, we're all going to play Ring Around the Rosie.
The video has a vibe that predates what Pee Wee Herman would later bring to television in Pee Wee's Playhouse. And it was around this time that Kaufman began his incredibly polarizing stint at wrestling women. He would appear at wrestling matches around the American South and offer $1,000 to any woman who could pin his shoulders to the mat. Kaufman finally found a way to get the most visceral response from an audience possible, again blurring the line between comedy and performance art.
I can verify the fact that it is certainly serious that gals are up there trying to take you apart, and you have no idea how good they are, how strong they are. You don't know when you get in there with them.
I've never seen them before in my life, and they just come up there, and I let the audience choose who I'm going to wrestle. I've never met a woman in the ring in the 3.5 years that I've been doing this who was able to pin my shoulders to the ground. And it's embarrassing, but I'll keep doing it because they keep saying they want to try. And as long as there's women out there that want to try and humiliate themselves like that. Now, I'm not saying women are mentally inferior to men, because when it comes to things like cooking and cleaning, washing the potatoes, scrubbing the carrots, raising the babies, mopping the floors, they have it all over men. I believe that. But when it comes to the wrestling, when it comes to them getting in the wrestling ring, there's nothing up there. They're all oatmeal north of the eyebrows. They're all, wheat Tina for brains, you know what I mean? I will pay $1,000. I'll take on anybody who wants to come in that ring and volunteer. I don't think you can do it. You know why? Because I'm going to send you back to the kitchen where you belong. I'm going to have you scrubbing the potatoes and washing the carrots. Because that's where you belong, ladies.
Apparently, it was around this time Kaufman began saving all the hate mail he was receiving due to his overtly misogynistic wrestling persona. The mail was meant to be collected into a book called Andy Kaufman's Hate Mail, and sadly, that never happened. It seemed to many at the time that Kaufman's parallel obsessions with wrestling and his offensive alter ego Tony Clifton were taking him down a dark path. Or was it all part of the act? Kaufman continued his appearances on television talk shows and variety specials while also touring the country and, yes, wrestling women. Ultimately, however, it was that activity that began pushing public opinion against Andy Kaufman. He became something of a pariah. He stopped getting booked as a guest on shows, got kicked off Saturday Night Live while on the air during a live audience poll, and, adding insult to injury, his sitcom Taxi was canceled in February of 1983. It was not a great start to the year for Andy Kaufman, but it would get much, much worse. Just after Thanksgiving of 1983, Andy Kaufman would be diagnosed with a type of lung cancer. After trying a number of treatments, both medical and alternative, Andy Kaufman lost his battle with cancer on May 16, 1984. For almost anyone else, that would be the end of the story. But Andy Kaufman had one final performance in him, faking his own death. In what has become a genuine urban legend, there are some who perpetuate the rumor that Kaufman is still alive. Why? Well, Kaufman often spoke of doing just that, a hoax to convince people he was dead. To add to the speculation, Kaufman's alter ego Tony Clifton kept making appearances after Kaufman's death. However, it seems quite unlikely that this hoax is real. Andy Kaufman's death certificate has been released by the LA County Coroner's Office. It confirmed that Kaufman was indeed dead and buried at Beth David Cemetery in New York State. Amongst his peers in the comedy world, Andy Kaufman was greatly admired and respected. Not just because he was funny or talented, he certainly was, but in the surprisingly cutthroat world of comedians, where jokes, comedy skits, and even entire acts were lifted from each other, no one was jealous of Kaufman's success, because no one could possibly imagine doing anything even remotely similar.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast has just been cleared to land. As we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. Make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened and all carry-on luggage is stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead bins. We hope you had a safe and enjoyable listening experience. If you have any comments, go to the deepdivepodcast@gmail.com and drop us a line. Any clips used in the podcast are meant for educational purposes only and not to infringe on any existing copyrights. And thanks for flying, an Automaton Studios production.